Yeah, that might be easier. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so creating a new narrative. We tell ourselves stories to help us make sense of what we experience. Although these narratives are created by our own perceptions, they can begin to feel like the absolute truth. Typically, they center on our core beliefs. Then we look for proof that reinforces these beliefs and discard anything to the contrary. People who see themselves as weak will be sure to remember times they sacrificed what they needed, but will overlook times they reflect their strength. Oh, times that reflect their strength, such as when they successfully negotiated for a promotion at work. The stories we tell. It is human nature to create stories based on our personal experiences so that our lives feel cohesive and organized. Unfortunately, the narrative we create can be self-destructive, as we often build it around our negative beliefs. Separating the self. In our storytelling, we tie our identity to our problems. If we are struggling with codependency, it's not uncommon to feel broken. It is important to understand that you are not the problem. You are a person with a complex history and reasons for struggling to value your internal self-worth and reality. But this is not the essence of who you are. You have codependency, but codependency does not define you. When you notice codependency does not embody your authentic self, you can begin to fight the problem rather than attack yourself. We can use our creativity to externalize problems. When I was struggling with depression, one day I had an epiphany. I was not a broken and unlovable person, but my depression was trying to convince me that I was. In my mind, depression looked like a giant cockroach with a crown. After externalizing it, when I had depressed thoughts, I could notice that the roach was a liar. Changing your perspective. Over time, after noticing the cockroach, I tapped into a realization about myself that my depression never let me see. I am very strong for surviving abuse in my childhood. I realized this strength is authentic, and when I embody this truth, I am a goddess warrior. When we externalize the problem, it allows room to see the parts of us we have neglected to notice.
I love the reading. It's so helpful to look at and start recognizing our narratives, because our narratives define us. And our narratives attached to our belief system, which keeps it alive. It's like a cycle, belief, narrative, belief, narrative. And, like she's talking about, you can, like one little slip or failure can make you feel like a huge failure because of the narrative and then the belief of that, instead of looking at all the ways we've been successful, which is, I want to talk tonight for sure about pausing the old narrative and creating a new one. And it's really important not just to pause the old narrative, it's really important to create a new one constantly, because you'll be surprised at how often, now that we're talking about it, narratives play into our belief system and who we are and how we operate. The narratives are so destructive and insidious, just like the narrative that it's easier to do art, look at a device than do art. I mean, that's a narrative that we tell ourselves. It doesn't have to be the truth. It just is what we tell ourselves that becomes our truth. Instead of, oh my God, how fun, I have 30 minutes, I'm going to go do a funny little found object thing, and make it exciting. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? We tell ourselves narratives all the time, and that's the crucial part of this whole reading, is become aware of that, because we define ourselves, and it's never like, well, never is a strong word. It's not as often that we say beautiful things about ourselves in our narratives. Does that make sense, you guys? You know, I'd like to know what came up for you guys in this reading. Do you realize that you have narratives? How's that? I'll ask that question.
Well, I was wondering, Janice, can you give another example of like how a narrative, like of a narrative that you're talking about that we could then pause and create a new one?
Well, I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. That's a narrative we tell ourselves all the time, consciously and unconsciously. So what
Mm-hmm.
would be a new narrative? Let's just use that one because we all have that one to some degree. That I'm an amazing, productive, I don't like that word, amazing, engaged human being. And I'm worthy. I'm more than worthy. You know, it's not
Mm-hmm.
just affirmations, it's a new way of telling yourself, talking to yourself, and creating a new narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Or depression. I don't want to get up. It's too hard. That's a narrative. It's a voice. It's a narrative we tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of reframing that narrative and I'm I am going to get up. I deserve getting up. I'm going to engage in life. You know, whatever the new narrative is.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense, you guys? It's like how it's a reframe, but more importantly, it's not just a reframe. And I'm going to challenge each of you to keep a brand new journal by your bed or with you. And every time you hear a narrative that's destructive, I want you to pause and write. It can be brief, but write a new narrative. And the reason I want you to keep a journal is where you can reread it and start recognizing what you're nurturing. What are the new narratives that you want to develop and nurture?
That would be helpful.
It's really good because we can do it in the moment, but then we forget. You know, but if you literally are holding a journal or keeping a journal, it can be on your phone, I don't care, but keep the new narratives alive and nurturing them. Read them in the morning as your part of your practice. What are the new narratives that I'm nurturing and developing?
Right.
Does that make sense? Because we do it maybe in the moment, but then it's gone.
Mm.
You know, and I just want you guys to actually create your own voice to yourself.
It's hard when it whispers, right? Like, so I had it this morning. I had it this morning. And then I had like, honestly, like an altercation that like, and my narrative was gone. And then like it slowly started to creep back and then it was gone again. Um, and anyways, it's like this, I feel like lately inside of me, it's been like my narrative versus this other narrative that I've carried with me that I've embodied with this other person, right? It's so ridiculous because it's not what, what I'm going for.
Right? It is. It's we're used to the old narrative because
Yeah.
it's been our narrative for a long time. It's our story,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm asking for you guys to create a new story that you choose, not one that was passed down
Mm.
that's destructive and you know, unhealthy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, you guys? Like really try if you can or be willing to try it for 3 weeks, not even forever. Keeping the journal and reading it every morning when you wake up. Make the new narrative what you start your day with and choose to develop and nurture.
Mm-hmm.
Part of your ritual.
Mm-hmm. One thing I like about this reading is that she talks about the confirmation bias. So like once we start believing our new narrative, that's what we will see. That's how we will like respond to the world. And that's what I want. I want I want to cultivate that. I want to spend my time doing that, making that happen, as opposed to all of the other negative thoughts or negative stories I'm telling myself that I see confirmed, because that's my narrative, you know.
And belief,
Yeah, and belief. Yeah.
because they're married, they're like,
And I think conscious and subconscious, some of them I'm aware of, and some of them I'm not. I thought that was a
some
really
of them are unconscious.
mm-hmm.
I mean, even deeper than subconscious. They're just so much a part of us. It's not even part of our consciousness on any level,
Cool.
you know, but just getting back to the depression one, I just feel like that narrative keeps us in depression, keeps us stuck, has a voice, which is the narrative voice, you know, and just to pause that and, okay, everybody pick one narrative that they recognize that they want to pause, and what are you going to replace it with and nurture? I'll start. I'm not too busy to do art. That's the narrative I'm gonna, because I can easily say, because it's important to me and it helps keep me grounded. I can easily, the narrative is, oh, I've worked all day, I don't want to, I just want to chill. That's the narrative. And so how do you, shift that? Is, I'm not too tired. It feeds my soul. It's worth me engaging in. Do you see what I'm saying? So what ones, what is just one that keeps you stuck, that you're recognizing even through this conversation, and speak it out loud, and then we can help you maybe reframe it or come up with a new narrative.
Brittany, did you have one?
I did. I have so many things pinging in my head. Um, with my youngest kid, I went recently to a guy who does a place that does what they call hypnosis, but it's like meditation. Um, and he talked a lot about positive talk. And so he would take your statement, Janice, and say, I have time for art. Like I rather than I'm not too busy, you know? And so it made me think about something I did recently that like I've been getting a lot out of rituals that don't involve words as much. But when I had to put words around this ritual, what kept coming through my head was feel into authority. And that's not like, oh, like hierarchical thing, but it got at that, like, I'm not enough, or that I need to ask permission in some way for following my gut or whatever. And that it was a little bit of like a mantra, but like feel into authority for me was like, I don't have to act as though I'm underneath or asking permission for or in service of someone else. It was like I meant authority over my gut, my actions, like responsibility for the path that I'm gonna take. So it was kind of more like that. Like you don't have to double check with somebody before you make decisions, or even narratives about like security or money or things like that, where it was just kind of like, well, I'm literally the boss of me. Nobody's coming to save me. And that's a good thing. Not, so that was kind of mine that came to mind. Um, yeah, I don't know that I have a current narrative that I want to spin, except just kind of, I am okay. Like, I am okay in my skin where I am today, um, all of that. It's so easy to see the confirmation bias, like nitpicky about my life and what I've got to do and all of those things, and just kind of being like, I'm okay. And then the two other things I was thinking about is it always comes to me in moments when I'm not above the neck. I always think of you, Janice, in the, you know, she said to us in group, like, I wish I could just snap off your head from your neck, because my feelings were coming from up here. And so as I'm listening to you talk and read this excerpt and all of that, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that was in this book and that podcast and all of these other things. But like really when I have these like revelations, it's when I stop and I'm doing something with my body and I'm not using words. And then the words are more succinct and they just sort of come to me rather than being, again, like somebody else's authority. Like she said it better than I did, so I'll refer you to this book. So I'm done.
I love that. I love that the more you're engaged with yourself, the less there has to be words. It's just the truth. We talk too much.
Janice,
Yes, ma'am.
hi. Do
Hi.
you remember when I said words are like currency? If you use them too much, it's inflation. And then they have less value.
Yes.
That's what that made me
Yes.
think of.
Good
It's
one.
true. Yes. Did you do the reading? Have you read it?
I have not. I just got this link from B.
Oh, okay.
See you. Yeah.
Okay. It's in
Yeah.
the chat if you want to read it. It's a good reading. You can
Okay.
while you're
Well, I'm hanging out.
eating.
Yeah, sorry about that. I hope you guys
All
don't
right.
talk too much. Ah.
But I feel like the more we can, if we're going to have a narrative and think, we might as well turn it into something constructive and healing and connectable. Like connect to it instead of it driving us.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I can share one. The narrative is that I don't deserve joy until everything is done. And today I shared in one of our in the gratitude chat that I surfed my first wave since my knee injury in February. But that was on Monday, and then today I wanted to get out in the water, and I knew I couldn't wait till the end of the day because I'm here. And so I was like, would it kill me to go surfing, get in the ocean before noon? Like,
Funny.
and the I didn't realize in the moment, but now that we're talking about this, I realize that what was happening, so there was resistance, right? There was like, oh, it's kind of cold and it was cloudy and it was I was like, is it gonna rain? And it was all resistance. And that's the old narrative, right? Like, you could probably do this other stuff. It'll be like, it's probably not gonna be that good out there anyways. And I was like texting a friend who lives in Colorado now, and I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go. And I sat, the surf sucked. The tide was super high, but it rained, which is super cool. Like it's so rad when you're out there in the rain. And then the Caspian terns were like flying around, squawking and squeaking away. And I got a couple waves, but I did a lot of sitting around and I stayed out there for just over an hour because it was just so peaceful. I got nothing else done today, but whatever. I'm happy. That's my story.
Yeah, but you got that done.
Yes, I did.
And that was a big done. That was big.
It is. And you know, I'm gonna add one more thing to this. Yesterday, my sister hit me and my brother up and we're like, hey, this our aunt who has been pretty estranged from the family, apparently is in hospice care and going to be dying. She's moved back to where the family is, conveniently enough. And she's estranged because she's like literally been the victim her whole entire life. And that's been her narrative. And she has played it till she's 75. And she has no money. She's no friends. She has some people who are there for her, and her like youngest sister is such an angel and is taking care of the complicated things for her. But her 4 kids decided to never talk to her again. And 2 of them, I guess, called to say goodbye, but like she might not hear from the other 2. And yeah, like that concept of narrative has really been loud since yesterday. And my sister FaceTimed me when they were over there, and yeah, she told me all her woe stories. But to change the subject, I was like, well, what was your favorite memory of your childhood? And she's like, oh, when we would play hide and go seek. And I asked my dad about it tonight, and he was like, yeah, we would do it all the time. I mean, this is before anybody had TVs. And he, like, even seeing his joy come out, that was kind of cool. But I think, like, there's just so much pressure to be productive and do all the things. And I guess she had some jealousy. And those are all narratives, like, so anyways, I don't want to be like that ever. And I'm not going to be, but it's just like this stark contrast that I felt the need to share. Thank you.
Yeah, I love the story because it's a narrative that helps us with our narrative. It's
Yeah.
you don't want that narrative, right? And end up like that. Oh my gosh. You know.
I created one yesterday. It kind of was like, I didn't even realize I created it. I like had I don't know, just, I'm in a codependent relationship currently. And so yesterday it was really good. And we had like a really productive talk, and I'm trying to figure out my way out of it, but he's fairly dominant over me. And he gave me my tasks, but it's helpful in some ways because I lost my husband and I was depressed, and he, anyways. So he gave me it was calm. Our exchange was calm and wonderful. And I had the best day yesterday because I had that, and it was easy. I was like, oh, this is what I have to do. And so the narrative I created was I work well with like this calm, lovely energy. And then today I also had tasks like I do every day, like whatever, trying to be more productive with things that I was kind of crippled by after my husband died. Anyways, so, but we had chaos like chaos, resolve, chaos, like real chaos. And I was in a tailspin all day. Like I couldn't, I wasn't. I actually had a minute where I went to my tennis lunch with my tennis girlfriends, and I left it behind. But it just kind of dominated my narrative, right? Today. And now thinking about this, I'm going to change the narrative to like, even if there's chaos, I can be productive. I don't need to have that narrative that, oh, if there's chaos, I can't be resilient. If there's chaos, I can switch that channel. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I like how you said switch that channel. Like
Yeah.
literally just switch it, reframe it, carry on.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm raising 3 teenagers, so I just thought I am okay. Like I would just have chaos and just say I am okay. Because there's always chaos.
I know. It's a chaotic time. Kids, teenagers are all chaos and frenzy. You know, and just what you said, just reframe it. I'm okay. And in the whirlwind, it's all right. I'm in the middle of it. I'm not going to be, caught in it. Because our narratives are really powerful, you guys. I just want to reiterate that, and just even if you can recognize when it comes from subconscious up to conscious for a minute, like grab it and understand it and shift it, because it's hiding and it impacts us. It's like a hidden voice, a hidden process that we have to be mindful of. Does that make sense? It is. It's lying underneath and it's like waiting to, and even subconsciously it's impacting us. Unconsciously for sure it is, because that's where a lot of beliefs are. They're very unconscious at the level that they impact us. We're not aware, and the beliefs and the narratives, I'm telling you guys, they're like so woven together. It makes it much more not complicated, but takes more effort to unravel those. And just speaking about beliefs, it's like what is it, confirmation bias, how it reinforces our beliefs over and over and over again. I mean, one little thing can reinforce the belief of us. We might have 5 wonderful things and one that really impacts us in a way that triggers us, then all the 5 go away and we become impacted by that one that's feeding that belief that we're failure, not good enough, or always make mistakes. Right?
Yeah. Julianne just shared another good example of that the narrative that she changed was I'm safe. So like when she hears something, a noise or something startling, to be like, I'm safe. I'm safe, instead of being in the fear. But reminding herself that she's safe has been helpful. Absolutely. That's a really good one. Yeah. But I also think like one example that I'm coming up with right now for this happened a little while ago, maybe last year, where I was at work and someone kind of like, I think it was my boss, she said something and I took it as a critique and that I did a bad thing, and that I wasn't good enough and I'm not smart and I'm all these things. And those are my stories, right? Those are the narratives that I had been telling myself. But when I when it like stung, and I was like, ooh. And then I realized a little bit later that, oh, it's because I have this story. Otherwise, what she said wouldn't have mattered, or it would have just rolled, and kind of passed by. But because it stung and I felt it, I was like, oh, okay, that's what I'm, that's my work to do right now, is to think about and work through that particular story and create a new one. Right, just like this reading suggests.
Yeah, and a narrative can be one word. It doesn't have to be a whole story,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it can be like, I'm not smart,
Right.
not worthy, or not good enough. That's a good one.
It's cool that you were able to access that in that moment.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh wow, darn. I have had other times too where I've thought, oh wow, I'm still working through that. Okay, here it is again. Because I could
Yeah.
feel it in my heart.
I
Now you know that feeling is an indicator.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
don't just go with the feeling and go spiraling down.
Right, exactly.
Like a pause button, you recognize the feeling now, and it's like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Does
Wait.
anyone else have another narrative? Kate, Kristen?
Sure. So I think it's kind of cool that our last few Zooms they kind of all kind of tie together. I can't remember the exact nature of the previous topics, but they seem to um all be on the same um I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't know what my point is. But I think that it's for me it is just mind blowing, the narratives and the beliefs and how we're telling ourselves stories to reinforce our beliefs, and it's just so complex and complicated. Like, where does it come from and how do we do it? And we're so unconscious of it. So and I'm going to say right here something that I'm going to change the narrative in a second, but it's hard. So, so I think to turn that around, it's like, oh, it'll be, how can I say it in a better way? I'll catch it, and when I can, it won't be hard or whatever. Anyway, but for me, my narrative that I would work on would be just as simple as I am knowledgeable. And I'd like to give a little bit of the backstory. Yesterday, I was out on this hike with a bunch of nerdy botanists and an ecologist that it just was just his knowledge was just absolutely so. I was just in awe, and I was like, I wish I was more like that. I wish I got to a point in my career that I like was an expert in my field and just had people, have admiration for me like we all did for this gentleman. And I went home feeling like a poser, feeling like an imposter, feeling like I'm not a botanist, like I don't have a skill set, and feeling really shitty, feeling really like awful, even though it was an amazing freaking opportunity that I had yesterday to go out with these cool people. I was just feeling really down, like really down on myself. And so I mean, and it's hard to say I am knowledgeable and change that and not feel so shitty about it. If I don't believe it. And so but I mean, I'm the only one that's going to be able to change that narrative. And if faking it till I make it works or whatever, I know it works. I know it works. Like I said in one of the last couple of meetings we had, I'm the only one that can, if I'm not happy, it's my own damn fucking fault. And so I need to change that narrative. I can't like call Janice every 5 minutes. Hey, Janice, tell me that I'm cool and I'm knowledgeable. Like, I am the one who has to do it. I can't rely on someone else. So it's the only way out, man. And so that's my thing. I guess I am knowledgeable, even though
I just it's a half belief. It's a half truth in my head, but I'm gonna have to go with it. That's mine. Mhm.
Yeah, I believe you are, and I know you are. It's just that old narrative that keeps you from really believing it.
Mhm.
Because I bet there wasn't much that you didn't know, if anything, that those people knew. And if you didn't know, you learned. So that's
Mhm.
knowledgeable.
Mhm.
And the other thing is that, and I think this might be where the codependency can be tied in, is you were comparing yourself.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
which is something, as we've learned, that people who struggle with codependency often do. We compare ourselves to others. Oh, I'm not as smart as that person, or whatever. I've done it, right? And but the thing is, Kate, things that that person doesn't. There is no comparison
Mhm. Yeah, Mom.
at all.
A narrative comparison's a narrative.
Yeah.
Comparison's a narrative.
Comparison, when we compare, it's
It's
usually
a narrative that I'm not as good.
yeah, it's to create evidence that to reinforce the belief
Mhm.
that we're carrying around.
Which
Mhm.
is the narrative.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying one word: comparison's a narrative, perfection's a narrative. We have all these narratives that we don't even realize that are ingrained in us.
Mm-hmm.
When I do like one little thing wrong in this little relationship that I'm in right now, he like lays, like he like dictates my narrative. And I just sit there. I, anyways, this is a really good one. Thank you guys. Because I know I'm like, that's not true in my head. I'm like, that's like, how can you be saying that? Like you weren't even there.
Mm-hmm. It's a powerful reading and conversation, because once we start looking at our beliefs and the different ways that we can begin noticing the unconscious ones, how they come up, it can really shift things,
Yeah.
right? Which is the point. We
Yeah.
want we want to change those things and not limit ourselves.
Yeah, I was just going to add another one: judgment's a narrative. All those powerful ones that we just were talking about: comparison, perfection, judgment, being critical. They're all narratives. They're not just definitions. It's what we do with the
I
narrative.
think of the three gates. Before you speak, let your words pass through three gates. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And I feel like I mean, I say this to my kids all the time. I'm least likely to apply that to my own words toward myself, like it, you know, in your example, Kate, I also thought of an author I like that, well, we probably shouldn't cross talk, but I just felt I felt your example. Um, but uh I thought of an author I like who said, that woman who did that thing I thought was cool, like she didn't do it at me. Like it's not personal, it's kind of like with the three gates, it's like, is that necessary to even compare? It's like true and kind that that person knows a lot about botany, but like, is it necessary to compare, So that's what had me thinking, the ways in which I just immediately am like, I can't do that thing. And I'm like, is that true? Like, what, why can't I do that thing?
Mhm.
I didn't make that rule, but it's following some narrative, whether I can form words around it or not.
Mhm.
It's very powerful. The narratives are very powerful.
Yeah, Brittany, what you just said reminded me of Byron Katie. Is it Byron Katie? Yeah, okay. Yeah. And that question of, is it true? That alone, and then imagining, what would you be, how might you be without that belief? That's very liberating to think about that. Imagine if we didn't have that, or let me personalize that. If I didn't have that story or that narrative of I'm not good enough. Immediately I feel that a different sensation.
And what if you really believed you are amazing?
Yeah.
Like, whoo,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's exhilarating to
Yeah.
just know you're amazing.
You know, and then that borderlines the I wonder if sometimes I humble myself because I don't want to be arrogant too. And I don't like that in personalities. Even though many times that's the people who people are attracted to, or those people who have that self-confidence and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, went kind of on a different tangent there and just wanted to say that.
No, I think that plays into it for sure.
Mm.
Because women are trained that it's arrogant to think well of ourselves or say anything
Yes.
positive about ourselves.
Yes.
We're braggadocious. I think that's a word.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
My
we're
mother,
supposed to be pretty on the outside, but we're supposed to believe we're ugly. That is like almost like you're supposed to be super humble. You know, they write songs about it. I think Bruno Mars wrote, there was a line in one of his songs about it, about how she doesn't know how beautiful she is. Like that's coveted instead of, hey,
That
that
whole
girl's
monologue in the Barbie movie.
yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
like, hey, I'm a badass, and let's all just be happy that I'm a badass. You know, we have to, like you were saying, we have to downplay even our confidence.
And that's a narrative too. We don't have to.
Well,
That's a
to
belief.
be accepted by social norm or the new, like, you're right, we shouldn't. We should not give a crap what the social norms are. We should just be ourselves.
Right? Have our own norm. You know, let us dictate our own self and norms.
Mhm.
Kristen, did you want to share anything?
No, I'm, just here for the first time. You know, I love you, Janice. So I'm just taking it in right now.
And the other Kristen.
I
Kristen.
can stay
Sorry.
too.
I was just thinking about all of them, and my school started, so I'm back at work, so I'm up and out every morning. Sorry, dogs barking. Please quiet, quiet, quiet. Thank you. But come weekend, I don't want to get out of bed, so I'm trying to redo that to I can get up in the morning. And that's as far as I can go, but that one would be a huge one for me on the weekends.
Would be a good beginning for sure. It'd change everything,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm just really glad we had this conversation about just how profound narratives are. So now we have more awareness, not that we didn't maybe recognize it some, but now there's even more insight and awareness around it because it morphs and it plays in a lot of different realms. And make them simple. One that, like I said, put it in your journal and reread them. You've got to reinforce them where they become rote and become a new belief system. Because the old belief system is entrenched. It is like, it has its claws in us. But it doesn't mean that the effort isn't worth it. Oh my God, the effort's so worth it. It's freedom from believing, that we're not as capable and competent as some other person. It's just crazy. Because we're all amazing in this whole group. We're a group of amazing women. Right?
yeah. And even in the reading, At the very end, I realized this strength is authentic, and when I embody this truth, I am a goddess warrior. We are
I know.
around. I mean, come on now. It's so good.
It's
It is true. It's so true.
That is the truth.
Yes.
The narrative that you are maybe pushing off or not wanting to believe, that is the old narrative. Make it your new narrative because it is true. It's not false. You guys are goddesses and you're authentic and you come here and you present and you engage and you're real. And that's a warrior.
So I want to know what everybody's little uh creative images of their depressive thoughts or their narrative. Like this woman, hers was a cockroach with a crown on.
Mm.
Mine's this guy. I'm gonna call this my negative narrative. That's it. I created this little crazy weird thing out of dead things and found things.
I think it's a good question. What is your image of the negative, the depressive, whatever? Do you have an image? If you don't, what would be one?
Mm.
Just weight, dark weight.
Mm.
Yeah, like a black hole.
Mm.
Anybody else?
I would add to mine like just like a dark little gremlin like sitting on this shoulder. Like a yeah, creepy little gremlin.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Something dark and sinister on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Mine doesn't have a specific form. I think of a motion that someone once suggested that I do, where it's like there's like pushing away energy. I mean, I think I sort of see or feel energies, and so there's a lot of like pushing away motion and then scooping back what's mine, because I think also I can give a lot of energy, I can sort of give a lot of my time and energy to one of those narratives that's not good for me, or what society or family expects of me. So scooping back just because I'm pushing away the larger concept doesn't mean I can't keep what's mine.
That. And just like you just now said, Brittany, the narrative is what they tell you the narrative is, and we still believe it too much. Not maybe all the time, but it's hard to break that family narrative. It's harder than a lot of them.
I kind of missed the question, but Brittany, what you shared made me think of this is, so I've been doing breath work to like release the stored stuff. And whenever I breathe and I start to like envision believing in myself, my jaw just chatters. It's the wildest feeling, and I've just been embracing it. Pretend it's a winter day surfing, but every time I envision actually like stepping into my goddess form, there's just this insane amount of fear that's from here. So I just felt like I wanted to share that. Thanks.
What a great group tonight.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. It's just
So narrative journals, goddesses.
all right. Have a good night, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.